I don't know what to say about that one. I guess they could have music and they couldn't. There is no shortage of people with terrible advice on YouTube. The interwebs are great for getting bad advice from people that like to talk like they know what they're talking about, but I think we all know there's a lot of advice that you shouldn't take, and YouTube is definitely no exception. There's a lot of people that have an expert opinion, and today I'm gonna react to some advice that people like you have been given about how to grow on YouTube. I made some posts in some Facebook groups to see what the worst advice is people have been given, and I'm gonna react to it and give my 2 cents on some of those things. Some maybe are true, some maybe are not. We're gonna find out. First one, my bad advice. Put me on my thumbnails. For my niche, it didn't work. I drew the focus away from the treasure in the picture. It almost killed my channel. Went from growing over 500 subs a month to maybe 20 a month. Just corrected that, but it's taking time to get the momentum back. That's a good one. I saw that with my YouTube channel, Get Handles Basketball, my other channel. A lot of my best performing thumbnails just show a picture of a rim or a basketball. I mean, some other ones do well with me in it, but it's not always the case. I think for a lot of channels, if you have something that's a little bit more like showing like how to make something or how to do something, you don't necessarily have to be the focus as much. If it's more about your reaction and your personality, then showing you in it can help. But definitely something to consider. You know, a lot of people say you have to put a thumbnail with a big facial expression, right? And that is like considered best practices, but that's not the case for all channels. Good advice to not take that bad advice. Here's the one. 1,000 views equals $100 or $10. $100 would be crazy. $10, yeah. Well, if you're getting $10 for 1,000 views, you're probably in a really good niche. I would say typically, and again, every niche is different. There's no overarching number that every channel is gonna reach, but I would say $2 to maybe $3, $4, maybe $5 is a little bit more realistic. Sub for sub works. Yeah, that's, do not do sub for sub. It's the worst thing you could do for your channel. You're gonna build an audience of people that basically are watching or subscribing to your videos and not watching them, or if they do watch, you know, some people do view for view, they watch 10 seconds and now your audience retention plummets. And because of that, your videos aren't gonna perform as well because YouTube's gonna think they're bad videos. So don't do it. Like, and YouTube's gonna see like if you're doing sub for sub and people are not like clicking on your videos to watch them, even though they're subscribed to you, they're gonna think again you're making bad videos. Don't do sub for sub. Let's see. You don't have to follow the directions on the package. Only use half dose because. Okay, so I think that's more of like advice they got during a video about not following directions. That's random, but kind of funny. Okay, you can use 2 to 5 seconds of copyrighted song without getting in trouble. I think many people still believe it. That's a great piece of advice because, yeah, a lot of people are thinking that, oh, I can use copyrighted content and if it's for educational, like, a lot of these companies will still come down on your channel, even if it's for educational purposes or fair use. Like, that's a sticky thing, and that's why, like, me personally, like, I've dabbled in trying that kind of stuff, and I really went hardcore away from it because at the end of the day, especially if you're building a business off of YouTube or trying to get some extra income or just putting in all that time to building a channel, and do you really want to get demonetized or possibly get your channel shut down because of some stupid copyright stuff? Like, no, just use yourself. Use stuff that you have the rights to use. So don't do it. Don't do it. I don't think it's worth it. That's just my 2 cents. There is a magic formula that works for every channel and it costs $2K in a course. That's why, yeah, okay. All audiences are unique. That's great advice. So she was saying that basically there isn't a magic formula. I think there are tactics and strategies definitely that can like help you more reliably grow a channel. Definitely tactics and strategies you can use to help videos grow a lot more quickly. So I somewhat disagree on that part. Like there are certain things you can do to get more out of your efforts. But just because you buy an expensive course doesn't mean you're automatically gonna see growth, number one. And just because you buy an expensive course doesn't mean you're gonna like blow up and go viral, right? You've gotta apply the course, number one. And number two, that's just gonna help your channel grow more, grow quicker, but doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna blow up and every video is gonna do well. So great on that. And also understanding that all audiences are unique. That's another thing you've gotta understand. Like some audiences are bigger than others, some are gonna be more in tune with what you're doing than others, right? It just depends on what your niche is. That you decide on a target audience and tailor yourself to fit them regardless. It should be target an audience that you enjoy the content yourself. Otherwise you will hate making stuff and it will show in your work. I agree on that too. Like you do want to like keep in mind your audience's like what they want to see and try to somewhat steer to that, but within the confines of making something that you enjoy. Like if you're making something that makes you miserable, at the end of the day, like you could be getting a lot of views and you're just going to get burnt out and eventually quit. I think it's important that what you're making, you know, is something you're actually passionate about. To buy one of those pay us and we'll give you subs programs. He only gets like 300 to 400 views a video with over 20,000 subscribers. I don't know who he is, but yeah, like don't pay for subs or views or any of that stuff. Again, for all you know, I'm almost guaranteeing those subscribers are not gonna watch your videos because they're like fake subs, or even if they're real people, they're people that don't care about your channel. And if you're paying for views, again, you're probably gonna get low audience retention on those views. Even if you're paying for ones that are like high audience retention, if those people, and if they are real people, like we don't know, right? You don't know if they're real or not, but if they are real and they're just watching your video because they basically paid to watch or got paid to watch your video, then what's gonna happen? Well, YouTube's gonna show more of your videos because they're like, okay, you know, they watched this whole video, let's show more of them. And then they don't watch them. Again, YouTube's probably gonna think, oh, this channel's not very good. So long term, it's not a good strategy. Wouldn't do it. Don't do it. Next one, people say you can figure stuff out, branding, value proposition, even artistic elements. They don't say clearly how much in addition you have to listen to your gut, intuition, how it feels. I agree on that completely. A lot of like my best performing stuff, I just went more with my gut. Like, there's certain tactics, strategies that, you know, are good to follow and great advice, but from time to time, I think you gotta like break out of that and try something different, number one. And number two, just go with what feels right sometimes is a better strategy than going with, you know, this is what you should do. And I found that with a lot of my best performing stuff is sometimes I go against the grain, and because of that, you stand out. But on top of that, like, going with what you believe, I think is gonna make the video connect more with the audience because it's more authentic to you. So, you know, your branding, your strategy, what you put in the videos, all that's gonna allow you to come across more to the audience as an authentic person, which I think is really important. YouTube, you know, there's companies on there, but at the end of the day, it's made more for you, people, real people, right? So I agree with that. Half of the advice given on the Reddit new tubers. So I don't really go on Reddit personally, but I can imagine there's a lot of advice on there that's not so good. So yeah, I can definitely see why that would be. I mean, these are all examples of probably things that are being said there. So make sure you're getting your advice from people that actually know what they're doing. Good one. You've got to publish several times a week. Not true. Not true at all. Just about killed me, said someone else in response to that comment. Yeah, like I, for a while, was posting multiple times a week. I would say once a week would be a good baseline, and you can get away from time to time with posting maybe less. My advice I always give people that are getting started on YouTube though is post one video a week for a year. Every week, just one video, and just stay consistent. I think that's a good like amount of videos for your subscribers to continue to be interested in. Depending on your niche, it could be more, it could be less. You know, and there's certain channels that they post maybe once a month, but they make like a killer video. Now, typical YouTubers, I don't think like when you're getting started, you need more practice making videos. So doing one video a week is more about like showing up consistently for your audience, but also for you. It's just good practice for you to get better at making good videos, making quality videos. So on that side of things, I would say, yeah, don't necessarily feel compelled to put 10 videos out a week or 5 videos for that matter. Just go with one, and that should be, I think, a baseline for most channels. Again, every niche is a little different. And at the end of the day, making a good video is more important than putting out a lot of videos, right? Quality over quantity. But at the same time, try to put a certain amount of quantity out that your subscribers, you know, have a reason to keep coming back and keep watching. That one needed to post every day to be successful, and that was exactly what I needed for YouTube. Yeah, like, you don't need to post every day. There was a time where that really was somewhat beneficial, and in fact was really beneficial on YouTube when you were guaranteed to show in the suggested feed the top 4 videos would always be from the channel that you were watching that video from. So if you're watching one of my videos, there'd be 4 videos below that were suggested that were all mine. That hasn't been the case for quite some time though, so it doesn't really pay off as much as it used to. And just YouTube isn't pushing as much as they used to just because a video is new. There was a period where they were just pushing, if a video was new, they would push it out to the subscriber feed automatically a little bit more and in the search and suggested. That's not really the case quite as much anymore. You'll get rich quickly if you just follow my advice, which costs $297. So mixed feelings on that. There's some people that are worth every penny. Like, I had a business coach. He helped me basically turn Get Handles Basketball into a full-time job, helped me with growing the YouTube channel. I've gotten some great advice. In fact, I've paid YouTube gurus $600 for an hour-long call. Haven't had that yet. It's going to be happening actually soon. So even though I'm like Inspire Video Marketing, I'm still learning. And at the end of the day, like, it depends on who that advice is coming from. I don't think it's necessarily bad advice to say that, you know, just because someone wants you to pay a lot of money to get their advice, you know, I don't think that's bad. It just depends on who you're getting that advice from and what they're gonna give you, you know. And I can understand why people would be skeptical, as you should be. You know, you'd want to do your research on someone that's trying to help you out, that you know that they know their stuff. Next, when your videos are too long, then they proceed to do the same things as myself in their videos. Yeah, I've had this on Get Handles Basketball. Not this channel, maybe I'll get some comments on that at some point, but I've definitely had it with Get Handles Basketball, people saying my videos are too long, but guess what? The longer videos are the ones that typically perform better. So, you know, you can't always just listen to those one comment. I think that's a good piece of advice, is sometimes you'll get comments saying that this is bad about your videos. You can't just let one person dictate what you do. You gotta know which ones to kind of weed out. So, you know, long videos typically are gonna perform better in my experience. It just depends on the niche once again, but typically for most channels, I would say trying to make a little bit longer video is gonna be better. And you're gonna get some people that don't appreciate that in the comments, but brush them off. Next one, I came for a welder review, not to see messing around in your shop. I don't know if that's necessarily advice. That's kind of advice. You know what, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're right. I don't know, I haven't seen the video, so maybe if you're doing reviews and you're just messing around, then yeah, I could see that. But I would get the impression that if he's saying this in the group, he's not just messing around, he is doing a review. So again, sometimes you gotta brush off some of the comments. That's just what it is. That's YouTube. That's the internet. Next one, cat videos should never have music in them. That is so random. I don't really have any opinion on that. I don't know what to say about that one. I guess they could have music and they couldn't. That you have to be absolutely consistent in uploading content at the same time on the same day each week, regardless of what else you've got going on in your life. I've taken week to 2 week breaks here and there without any detrimental effects. Yes, you grow a little slower during those times, that subscribers won't suddenly run off in droves just because you didn't hit one scheduled upload. Agreed. Again, I think it's great to, you know, have that baseline of one video a week and try to stick to that. Do that for at least for your first year. I think that's really, really important, just to get some traction and get things going. That being said, just because you don't put a video up every week doesn't mean your channel is gonna die. I just say do one video a week so you can, like, I think it's a good habit to be in. But at the same time, make sure they're good quality videos. So if you're putting out terrible videos because you're trying to do one video a week, then maybe drop it down. Or if you have something really big happen in your life, yeah, maybe you do need to take a little time off. And with that being said, the other point they made, you know, having it posted on the same time every day, I think that does have a little bit of a good effect, because if you're posting at the same time, same day, your subscribers can know when to come back, and you can get more of that view velocity when you put your video out. You know, you'll get more views quickly in the first hour and then the first 24 hours, because your subscribers know when to expect your videos. And long term, YouTube will look at that view velocity and they'll say, okay, this video is good. And there's a chance you'll do better with that video. But I've also found some of my channels bomb when they come out, and then later YouTube realizes they're awesome and then they blow up in browse and suggested and search. So I don't think it's gonna make or break your channel at the end of the day, is my 2 cents on that. You know, it's not like do or die that you post on the same time, same day, but it can have an effect on your video performance. So, you know, I've got kind of a mixed feelings on that advice, but at the end of the day, make good videos, you know, and optimize them, all that stuff. And, you know, what time and day you post isn't gonna be the end of the world, but try your best to stay to the same time, same day, consistent schedule, once a week at least. And if you can't, that's life. So next, many bad advice, including do not create clickbaits, do not compare yourself to competitors, figure out your audience first, and many more. Interesting one. Do not create clickbait, they're saying, is, I think, bad advice. And I think they're implying that it's good advice. My 2 cents on that. I think here's the problem. People talk about clickbait like it's the same thing. Like people talk about like clickbait as being an enticing, like, okay, I gotta see this video, and you click it, right? That's not necessarily clickbait. If they deliver on what they said that, you know, in the title and the thumbnail, what was gonna be in the video, it's not clickbait. It's just making something that's enticing, but people started calling that clickbait. Clickbait is when you make it seem like it's gonna be one thing and they click it and they get something completely else. That's clickbait. So I think it's good though to make something that's enticing. Let's go into the next thing they said. Do not compare yourself to competitors. Yeah, you should. I mean, I don't think you should make your videos based on what your competitors are doing necessarily, or always trying to, you know, see how they're growing, because every channel's got a different journey and different following and all those things, and you got a different personality, different things you're going to be putting in your videos. So there's going to be some differences. So for that, I would say in some ways it's good to not like get overly bogged down in what your competitors are doing. At the same time, I think it's good to have an awareness of what your competitors are doing and where their channels are at. And you know, just because they're growing quicker than you doesn't mean you should get discouraged. I think that could be a problem. You should be more competing with yourself than anyone, and learning from what your videos are doing and what your audience wants. And that's where you're probably going to get the most success and most fulfillment. But at the same time, I think it's good to know where your competitors are at and what they're doing, and get an idea of also some of the content they're doing, because you can maybe get some good ideas that you could show up and search for, suggested, right? Or just get some creative new ideas that keep the creative juices flowing for you to keep your channel exciting for yourself and your audience. So I think it's kind of good in some ways to look at your competitors and not in others. Figure out your audience first. I think it's good to have an idea of what your audience is. But with that being said, you know, have an idea of what your audience is going to be. But from that, once you start putting videos out and you start getting feedback, don't be afraid to shift a little bit, you know, with what that audience is based on who's watching your videos. And at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is what your audience is has to revolve and match up with something that you're interested and passionate about. So decide what your audience is going to be based on what you're interested and passionate about. And then once you start putting videos out and you get some idea of what they think of your videos and what the feedback is and what's resonating, what's not, then you'll know a little bit more what to steer more towards and what to do a little bit less of. And you're still following your passion, you're still being true to your audience, all those things, and everyone wins in that scenario. So that's my 2 cents on that. Be yourself. Worst advice I ever got. Need to be your best self. I can on and on. I can go on and on. I think they meant about this. Yeah, I agree. You know, be yourself. Again, you have to be true to yourself and your passions, but at the same time, like, you can't just like half-heartedly make YouTube videos. You gotta put some effort, some thought, some, you know, put a little bit more of how you're gonna present yourself. Put some thought into that into your videos, because if you don't do that, then yeah, you might put videos out that are boring. You don't want to put out videos that are boring. You want to put out videos that people want to see. So yeah, your best self, not just be yourself. Like, that can be really bland. Good advice, simple but important. Next one, a bad video is better than no video. So not true. Right, exactly, agree, so not true. Do not just put out a terrible video. I'll admit it, I did this for a little while with Get Handles Basketball when the big talk was put out videos daily, right? And I put out some videos that, I mean, I don't think they were bad, but they weren't, like, they had helpful information and advice, but I didn't put like my best foot forward and put like a lot of time into the production and, you know, making a really, really good video. And at the end of the day, if you're putting out a bad video, especially in today's day and age, like with the way YouTube works, that your audience isn't resonating with, they're not watching, they're not clicking, they're not staying to the end, the retention is terrible, your channel's gonna start to plummet. So yeah, don't just put out videos consistently. I've said this a couple times now just to put them out. Like, put out good quality videos. Do sub for sub, bad advice, we talked about that, terrible. And just quit. That's some terrible advice. That, yeah. Again, like I say this on the channel a lot, 1 video a week for a year. If you're still not seeing results, maybe start a new channel or shift gears with what you're doing with your channel. But just quit is like the worst advice. Like, this is like the best time in the world to be alive. Like, you can make a living on YouTube, which is what this channel is all about, right? Doing pretty much anything. Like, how could you not take advantage of that? Why would you ever quit on that? Number one. And number two, I've said this, if you watch my Facebook lives on my Facebook page, and I'll probably be talking about this more on the YouTube channel, but you're making an investment by putting videos on YouTube. And I literally mean that in the like investment terms. You know, you invest in a house, you invest in stocks and bonds, right? You put your time in to make a YouTube video, and what's gonna happen? That video can get views over and over and over and over again, and as those views continue to happen, and from time to time YouTube decides, like, I'll have videos I'll put out, and all of a sudden, boom, YouTube will like push it into the browse feeder, and it'll blow up and get a lot of views. And I did nothing, right? I made it once, and it's gonna continue to get views over and over and over again, which gets ad revenue. And number two, can drive traffic to my websites, right? And from there, I can sell products, services, things like that, and those sales are be done without me doing anything. Like, I did it once, I created the products once, I created the YouTube videos once, and it continues to grow and make money. Like, why would you quit on that? So yeah, I think that's terrible advice to quit. Like, you should be going all in on YouTube and building a business around it. I'll have a part 2 for this right here if you want to watch some more reactions. I don't know what's going to be coming, but I would imagine there's going to be some good ones, because this one had some hilarious ones and some really bad advice. So check out that video. I will see you in that one next. Subscribe and click the bell icon to catch the newest videos.